For many years now, Russ and Craig have had many wide-ranging conversations with folks from all over the gaming world. This is one of those conversations.
D6G, the Lost Chapter.
So, Craig, have you tried the heart-shaped donuts are back?
No. What I finally got?
Yeah.
That croissant with the chocolate in it.
Oh, yeah. Those are pretty good.
Oh, that's any good?
Delicious.
Oh, Ken.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. It's Ken. Craig Whitehurst is right here.
Ken, I recognize the voice. The deep, booming, resonant voice.
What are you doing so far north? Don't you normally go to those southern Krispy Kreme donut places?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it wrong that I brought a box of Krispy Kreme donuts in here?
It is wrong. Look.
I won't show
be
the man.
surprised. This place, that we have people showing up with Tim Hortons boxes all the time.
That company invaded New England and we repelled them. Okay, we got them the hell out. Although, Craig, I don't know if you saw this. There was an article last week. There will be 4 Krispy Kreme donuts opening in New Hampshire.
Krispy Kreme is a lot harder argument to make than Tim Hortons.
Krispy Kreme is actually, when that light is on,
Krispy Kreme is
hard to walk
treasure.
by. It is. I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of my, I spent about 4 or 5 years down south.
Here's the problem with Krispy Kreme, though. They don't know how to make coffee.
That's true.
And
they're getting better.
Dunks has figured this out. So I would recommend, if you want coffee and a donut, you can have a story there.
I will say I am partial to the Munchkin. Okay. I can go for some Munchkins.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, I'd throw them in your little Krispy Kreme box, and we'll grab a table.
So you know what I miss?
Munchkins are the 6 mil donut.
6 mil of donuts. So I miss, Ken. I miss being in the South and enjoying the Krispy Kreme, and I also, you know what? Also, I miss the score, Ken.
I miss the score as well.
You can never
day,
forget the score.
You can never forget the score.
Never forget the score.
And if anybody's been listening to the show that long, I'm sure they haven't. Now, if they're a newer listener, they may not have, Lord knows no one wants to go back and listen to what is now 500 hours of gamer nonsense.
At least.
But you used to come on, had this great segment, and you'd give gamers insights into some great tracks and some great tunes they should be listening to while they're doing different kinds of gaming, right?
Yeah, I miss doing that. I loved doing that, and it was 5 minutes long, and I can't believe you all let me do it, and I appreciate that so much.
Hey, there's always a slot here on the show. If you ever wake up one day and you want to make it again, you know where to send the MP3
right.
file.
Just toss it to us.
I will tell you, you have no idea. I don't know if I've ever told you just how much work went into making those.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of time it takes to find... So what I would try to do is stick to a theme. Like if you guys were reviewing a game, I try to find out what it was and then do the music that I thought would go with that game.
Which was awesome, yeah.
Which was fun for me. It was a great, just sort of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me, because I'm a perfectionist. Well, I'm not a full perfectionist. I'm kind of a lazy perfectionist, but I want to get as close to perfection as possible.
Right.
And then there's a point where I just write off the rest. But I would spend hours and hours and hours just going through music. And then look up and go, oh my God, I'm supposed to get them something. I would have 40 hours of music. And I'm like, I can play 5 minutes worth of this. And so I'd have to pick the best 5 minutes. And then there's all this music. There's all kinds of wonderful music for gaming. And some of it, we'll talk about maybe that's ambient. And it's so ambient that it doesn't convey, you can't convey it in a podcast. I mean, it's just, you have to sit down for an hour and listen to it. Because gaming, you got to be able to talk and roll dice and play the game. The music can't take over, what you're doing. It can't interrupt. You have to be able to hear each other. And a lot of the best music is just too quiet for that. To really sound good in a minute's clip, you won't get a sense of what it is unless you listen to 30 minutes of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was hard, but I really loved doing that. I stopped in part because I started working on Polyversal, and in part because I ended up taking over This Week in Wargaming.
No, you did. That's right.
Which you, Russ, were one of my only guests.
I was on that show. It was very action-packed adventure. And then now, did that show? Is it still going, or did that take a break?
No, that was even more brutal an undertaking because that was supposed to be every week.
Oh, yes.
And there was no way I could do that and keep up with my day job. And my child at the time was 2 or 3. and it was just too much. The research, and then I felt like really all I was doing was just reading tabletop gaming news out loud.
Right.
And I it was a lot of research and editing, and that also the thing about the score that was great was I could send it to you, and you had to do all the the internet work.
The show, yes, right.
Yeah. I had to get Libsyn, all that stuff working,
Right,
and
right.
I had to pay for it, and I had to get a website, and it was like way more than one person.
It's work. It really,
should have been doing.
It is, yeah. Well, Ken, I missed the score, so I think let's break out our iPhones here and play some of these. I want to
Let's
hear.
do this.
I want to hear what lately.
Do people still play CDs? I brought CDs.
I think you can use them like frisbees now, right? That
Yeah,
reminds me of when I'm going to date myself now, but when I was in college, we used to play frisbees with LPs because we'd switch them all over to CDs. So we'd throw our
Right.
LPs, which was crazy talk. 'Cause those things are worth money now, so it was kind of.
I was going to say, you just
had LPs
probably
in
shattered a
college?
bunch of money against the wall.
Yes, I did, Ken. Thank you for asking.
How the hell old are you?
It's best not to ask.
I like
He's
how
an
I
old man.
I went to college back in the 20th.
Yeah, right back in the last century. So what are you liking now? Like, what are you like? What movies have you seen lately, or even the last couple of years? that
Yeah,
you're
that's
like,
the thing.
this is-
For me, it's all about soundtracks, and not necessarily movie soundtracks. The video game music has gotten so
Oh,
much
yeah.
better
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
in the last few years. But people always say, "Well, what movie?" People are always asking me that because I've always been that guy. I'm the one who always keeps up with film music, and they're like, "Oh, who do you like for the Oscars?" I'm like, "The Oscars are the worst." They really. I mean, if you have an opinion about the Oscars for movies, the ones for music are worse because they're usually. And it's not to say they're bad scores. They're usually really good scores, but they're really. They're either the scores for the types of movies the Oscar people like, which is never the types of movies gamers like,
Right.
or they're just really good for the movie, but they're not really good music,
Right.
Or they're not good for what we would want as gamers. I will say though, for you, Russ, Ennio Morricone won his first Oscar this year,
Yes, that's exciting.
and it's for Hateful Eight, which it's actually a really good score.
Yeah, right. Right.
So if you're still playing Legends of the Old West, I bet that would work.
I think I'll have to try
I didn't
that
bring
out.
a clip of that, but it's Ennio Morricone. For those of you who don't know, is the guy who did all the spaghetti westerns.
Good, the
and-
bad, and the ugly. One of the best
Yeah.
soundtracks ever.
Yeah,
Come on.
and I think I did a clip from that when I did the score back.
Yeah. That's like the cowboy. I mean, he is the soundtrack for
Exactly.
any Western ever. I mean, it's the music gets in your head for that. He's awesome.
What's weird about that though is when he did it, as someone was asking me this, like, how could he not have an Oscar? And I said, you have to understand that when he made those movies, he was so far ahead of his time, and that music is not cowboy music.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense in at the time. Like, he was way out of his. It was just as weird as doing cowboy movies in Italy.
Right.
And so the world caught up with him.
Yeah.
Really. And then now, of course, Tarantino's just doing homage, is what it is. But
Right.
but he deserves it. I mean, he's a master.
He does. He is a master.
But that reminded me of course, the greatest, for me, the single greatest music moment of the year in movies was in the Star Wars movie.
Okay.
And I don't, I mean, you guys may not know this about me. I am not a Star Wars fan.
When you say you're not a Star Wars fan,
I was not a Star Wars
now
fan.
you have to parameterize this. You mean until 2016?
Until 2016.
Really?
Oh,
Really?
And it's not because I was not aware of it, obviously.
so the Force literally awakened in you.
And I will tell you exactly when it happened.
Okay.
But I guess I brought a couple of cues. Well, we don't have to play all
We
of
can
them. I
play.
don't know how much
So you've
time
got.
you want to spend.
So what's the first you want to hear?
Well, I guess we'll skip the first one that I've got on the list because I've already walked past it anyway. I will assume most gamers probably have seen The Force Awakens.
Oh yes, if they haven't by
And
now.
I will
Shame on you.
assume that most of you probably have the score because it's Star Wars. I will say John Williams got nominated for an Oscar for this also. It's his 50th Oscar nomination.
Nice.
yeah.
I think he's the most nominated person
He's
ever.
got to be. If he's not, who else could be? Right.
And he's really talented. I mean, there's no doubting that. He deserves it. But I will say the moment in the movie, actually, I should ask you guys, I know you can see probably what I've put on the notes, but if you had to pick a moment in The Force Awakens that is the most important moment in the movie, what would you think it is? What do you think it is?
What do you think it is, Craig?
I don't know. The moment when she grabs the lightsaber. I don't know.
Did you think that, or are you?
No, I'm not looking. No. I'm not. No.
Okay,
See?
no, because I did. I had to give you guys the notes. I realized that after.
Craig has seen the movie now. How many times, Craig? 6?
I have seen the movie. I believe I'm still at 5.
5 times.
Yeah.
God.
So
Okay, well, that's good.
So would you like to break down the audio on how many different actors went through the little whispering moment in that scene, Ken? If you don't believe me.
No, but I will tell you, I've read a lot about that because I was impressed by that. Actually,
Yeah,
I read today that they actually managed to get Alec
Guinness. Yes.
Guinness saying Ray.
Yep.
By editing the word "afraid" from one of the first movies.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I love the level of fanaticism that went into making it.
Pretty impressive, yes.
But the music, the thing about it, I mean, people kind of know this is pretty well documented, but I'm not sure a lot of people care about it. The complexity of Star Wars as a myth is one thing. The complexity of the music that John Williams has written for it is a whole other thing on top of it. Mm-hmm. And it was this movie that finally, I will say, until now, I've never cared much about Star Wars. I've always tolerated it. Like, I don't dislike it. I just I've never been a Star Wars, like, obsessed science fiction fan. Mm-hmm. I've always liked Star Trek more. And it's not that I don't think one, it's not, there's no hate, as you guys say. But it was always, one, I think Luke just annoyed me as a kid. I never identified with Luke when I was a kid. And I always thought the whole thing was more fantasy than science fiction, and I didn't care as much about fantasy. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until, and you're right, Craig, it's the moment when she picks up the lightsaber. Mm-hmm. And because I have all the music from the movies. I actually liked episode 3 more than most of the other ones, and I realized it's because of the music. It's not so much because the movie's so great, although I think it is good. But in The Force Awakens, the moment she picks up that lightsaber, the music plays a cue, which is actually from episode 4.
Yes.
And is this like a thing everybody knows? The music is from when Luke sees Aunt Beru's house burning down. It's Homestead on the first. Right. It's on the first soundtrack, and it's actually not on the. If you play the soundtrack online or if you get it on iTunes or whatever, it's not on there. But of course, fans have gone and edited it back together based on that. And so, if you play,
you guys hearing it?
No.
All right, I got to check my audio here. I'll keep going, Ken. I'll figure it out.
Okay. I was going to say, if you play it, you can hear it, because what's amazing about it is it picks up that theme. And to me, the idea of her picking up the lightsaber and having that come through is exact. It's like all of the flashback thing, but it's all of the Force themes weaving together through that lightsaber at one moment.
Right.
And it brought me to tears. I'm not a crier. I will tell you, the music coming up at that moment in that movie put all the hairs on my arms standing up, and I was, it was like, holy crap.
Yep. Well, it's like all the different mediums working, all the different senses working together. Yeah.
You hear that one now? Too far away still.
Yeah, I hear something slightly.
Oh no, I'm having trouble with technical difficulties, Ken. Sorry.
I thought we probably should test it.
All right. That's all right. Move on. I'll bring it back in. But it's the scene. It's the same music, right? That Luke you experience, which is one of my favorite scenes when Luke's on Tatooine first and he sees the moons, right?
Right. And I get now that it was, and that was the moment I became a Star Wars fan, because that was the moment you all had when you were kids,
right?
And I never had that, and I don't, but I had it then. And it's like a memory. I mean, it's weird. It's like you all, I guess, were having a nostalgia moment when that happened, but I was having a moment.
You were having an epiphany.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Oh my God, they were right. Craig and Russ were right all along. That's what was going on in your head.
Right.
It doesn't help that, Star Trek has gone into something that I don't recognize anymore. But I will tell you that score is really good, and the themes.
Do you think you know your husband?
There. Oh, I got the sound working now. But unfortunately, there's an advertisement in front of it. So hang on just a second.
Sure.
Wait.
really well. Yes.
You think you know your husband? How old do you know your man?
This is the song, right?
Okay, here we go. Here it is. So this is the music Ken was talking about. And at about 28 seconds, right, we're going to fast forward a little bit here.
Oh, we skipped.
Skip it a little bit. Here we go.
There it is. That is the D8 right there.
So that's the part, right, Ken?
Well, yeah, sort of. Kind of.
Sort of. You kind of.
I will tell you though that theme. There's a.
Do not screw with Ken's music.
I'm
He's
trying.
not having
I am
it.
not
Now
a
you
professional.
understand why it
Ken
took
is
me
better
so
at
many-
this. Yes, Ken's much better at this than I am.
It took me so many hours to edit those things.
Right.
Anyway, that when it plays that theme, in addition to that, layered into that, and the reason I think they chose it is it's called the Dies Irae, which is it goes all the way back to Gregorian chant, right? Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
That's playing on top of it,
Right.
and that's the old chant for death. And so there's something going on there. They're telling us something.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Don't know what. I mean, obviously, it was a little more obvious when it was the burning homestead scene originally, but
Right.
it's that theme. Actually, I wrote a paper on that theme in college. Like, I'm obsessed with the Dies Irae in film because it's used a lot and people don't recognize it. It's buried in all kinds of things in movies,
Right.
and it informs what you're seeing, and you don't always know it.
It's almost like a tribal thing. It's like it's
Yeah.
at that level.
It's just built in
Yeah, cool.
because it's so old. I mean, it's 1,000 years old. Anyway, I that moment for me was the best film score moment of the year, and it made me a Star Wars fan. So if you're playing games, if you're playing Star Wars
any kind of
Rebellion,
game.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, any Star Wars game you got to win with.
But it's just so obvious, though. It doesn't work for much else.
Yeah. No, it also works. I'll tell you another time it works. When you're on the couch and your drink is on the table far away and your daughter's sitting on the floor, all you do is you reach your hand out and go, and your daughter will bring you your drink. And it works every freaking time. It's awesome. Just throwing it out there. I've never had that failed.
That's impressive.
So, yeah, good trick. You got to train your son now, Ken, before it's too late.
That's really good. Yeah, I don't think it's funny. He liked the movie. I don't think my 11-year-old liked it. I don't think he liked it all that much.
My oldest daughter likes Darth Vader, so I think she enjoyed it because she enjoyed Kylo's obsession with Darth Vader.
You should be worried about that.
Yeah, well,
She hasn't smashed a computer in the house, has she?
no. She's not emo Kyle Ren, though, so I'll take it.
I love emo Kyle Ren is hilarious.
You got to follow that on Twitter. If you're not following emo Kyle Ren on Twitter, you should be.
That's right.
Oh my
All right,
God.
Ken, what else? So Star Wars, not a surprise. I think it is a surprise that you were not a fan, and I think it's interesting that the music really brought you
Not a
back
fan.
to the fold.
And not only was I was president of my high school science fiction club for 2 years, and I
That
was not a
seems
fan
like
of Star Wars.
it feels like that should be illegal. I think
Well,
recount.
it takes all kinds.
Yeah, I guess so.
I know a lot about Star Trek.
No, it's nothing wrong with I love Star Trek.
I do too. I left. I will say the two new Star Trek movies, music wise, are amazing, and I almost put them on here, but they're now far enough back that
Yeah.
I didn't think they fit in. Try to stay more current.
Yeah.
So the next one on my list is, I could skip down to Ex Machina actually.
All right,
Maybe that
let's
would
go
make
down
more
there.
sense because at the bottom.
That's it. That would be interesting to me because
Right.
that movie was intriguing.
Did you see it?
I did. I saw it on an airplane, so not the ideal viewing experience.
Yikes! No.
But I mean, I think you get the basic themes.
I don't know. I'd feel really uncomfortable, like looking around and realizing that people were seeing me watching Ex Machina on an airplane. Like, I don't, because it's so intimate. Are we going to get an ad first?
No, this is it.
So you can hear it. It's just, I tried to pick one track you could actually hear because this is one of those really ambient kind of scores.
Yeah.
But it's this tense technical stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It reminds me of Blade Runner.
A little bit.
It does a lot.
Yeah.
There are sections that are really a lot like Blade Runner. I mean, the film looks like a Kubrick movie, but it's got some Blade Runner in it. This gets really creepy, and in fact gets really loud later on in it. But the point is, it's this electronic, dark future kind of stuff.
is good for Netrunner. This is a good Netrunner background.
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah. I think it would work for Infinity too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You can bring it down.
So yeah, I could see this working on
that track's like 8.
Bring that down, Russ.
any hard sci-fi. You could see this working on any. Yeah, it's awesome.
You need like faders.
Yeah, look, Ken, this is a low budget podcast.
Yeah, I was thinking like Shadowrun or.
Yeah, exactly. Shadowrun would be great. I like that one. I did not see Ex Machina. Should I see it? Is it worth it?
These guys, the guys who made that, Yes.
Okay. Short
Yeah,
answer.
I think Ex Machina. I think
I was not a fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but again, probably because I saw it on an airplane. And I saw it on an airplane coming from South Africa. So I'd been in the air for a very long time. That's probably why it didn't bother me, because I was only half awake and everybody else around me was asleep. So, like I said, not the ideal viewing situation. But I found the end kind of, I was like, oh, I get it. But I found it emotionally unfulfilling.
Yeah.
I don't like that kind of ending. You know what I'm saying? Without spoiling things.
Yeah. Don't spoil the end, because I kind of saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming. I will say I thought the performances in that movie were really good. Alicia Vikander is amazing, I think.
I enjoyed it all. I appreciated it all the way through.
All right.
I'm like a big Kubrick fan, so I like movies that are almost like the human beings are just as much robots as the robots are. And I will say, seeing Oscar Isaacs play what I call Bro Dameron is. I think that character he plays in the movie is just such a jerk, but he does such a good job of it.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
It's got him and the guy who played Hux in Star Wars, Domhnall Gleeson.
Yep.
It's just fun to see both of them in that movie and then go see Star Wars. I thought Ex Machina was probably my second favorite movie of the year.
Oh, really? All right.
After Mad Max, actually.
Yeah, Mad Max was great. Now, what about the audio in Mad Max?
Yeah, I loved Mad Max.
Now, you didn't pull any audio for Mad Max here. What did you think of it?
No, I didn't pull that because, it was good for Mad Max. I mean,
Right.
I thought it was great for Mad Max. I'm not a big, I know you, Russ, you were saying you listen to Pacific Rim and some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's probably in that vein. It's like hard rock kind of stuff.
Right.
It's great. I mean, it's probably great if you're an orc fan.
See, that's, and of course,
and
who isn't?
Russ
I mean,
is.
let's be honest.
Yeah. No, it's not my thing, but it's not, there's nothing wrong with it. It's good stuff.
Okay.
But, you'll see the next stuff I have on here. I lean towards I like choral music a lot, and I like instrumental kind of stuff. So that's not quite as heavy. Electronica I get into sometimes, but Ex Machina just seemed so weird that it made sense. So I guess we go up to Journey next.
All right.
Have you guys heard of this?
I have not.
Well,
it's a game. Yes,
It's a game,
Okay,
yeah.
I got it. Now, yes, I know Journey. I wasn't in gaming context.
Yeah, no. So everything else on my list is a game, actually.
Okay.
That's how good video game music's gotten.
Right.
I think Journey may be the best video game I've ever played.
Wow.
It's really good.
And I don't say that lightly. I've played a lot of them, and I say that because it's basically, I think it's artwork more than it is a video game. And I don't say that lightly either.
Definitely sets a tone, doesn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. So this is the opening of the game. The game is basically a mythical allegory that you just play through. It's like 2 hours long, and you should play it all at once.
Okay. So one sitting, just sit down and enjoy it.
Like a movie.
All right.
And you're on a journey. You're a person with no identity wandering through the desert. And I don't really want to tell you much more than that, because it's one of these things that's open to interpretation for a reason. But what happens is you wander through and you can fly, and you get these things that allow you to fly, and you interact with other people. There's always one other person walking with you, but you can't talk to them other than by making this one chirping noise. And you can't see who they are, but they're another human being on Earth playing online.
Oh, wow.
And you can't do anything but be near them in the game. And over the course of the game, what happens is you become like two people trying to survive. And it's really an amazing experience.
What platforms is this on? Okay, you know?
So it's on the PS4 now, PS3, PS4. I don't know if it's on any other ones. And the music's like cutting out. I don't know if that's because I'm talking. I apologize.
That's okay.
But the theme, that one theme from the beginning of that score is like repeated basically throughout the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then it's just reworked for the various experiences. And he won, the guy who wrote it, Austin Wintory, was nominated for, a Grammy. He's the first video game score to be nominated for one.
Oh, wow.
The end of it is this next track is the last part of the game.
Yeah.
I think it's the best, I wrote on these notes, it's the best 7 minutes of music I've heard in the last 10 years probably. When I played this game, I set down the controller like I had just witnessed something I shouldn't have. Like you,
oh, wow.
You should experience it. I don't know how else to say it. I made my son play. He was like 9. He was younger. I mean, it's been a couple of years now. I made him play it just to watch him play it, to see if he had the same. It's very emotional. I've never had an emotional experience playing a video game, which is other than like stress, you know. I don't know how else to describe it. It's very strange.
It's beautiful music.
Oh, the whole album's amazing.
I'll have to check that out, Ken. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's hard to, I mean, again, it's like one of these things you can't, cover in 30 seconds of talking. Right. It's very hard to get across, but everyone should see this thing.
Very cool, very cool. I think we have time for one more. So what's your final choice here? We're going to kick us out of Dunkin' Donuts.
I guess I have to go to Destiny. So, I think PS4 is underrepresented on this show.
Possibly, yes.
That is true.
And Destiny is, well, I know you like Halo.
Yeah.
Actually, you might want to, well, let's go down. I think Taken King's better. Well, if we're going
now, I've played Destiny, of course.
We're going for broke.
It's on like every platform, but
is it? Okay.
I've not played the Taken King though, so that's
we'll go to the Taken King. So if you've played Destiny,
yeah,
we'll skip that because that's the happy stuff.
Yeah.
Destiny Taken King is darker.
All right.
So this track is the opening of the game, like just when you boot it up.
All right. The very first one here.
Commercial
again.
Commercials. Oh, good.
We're learning about the best writing tool for students. We're skipping that now. Here we go.
That gives you the flavor, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
So this stuff, it goes on like that, but the horns and the dark, you feel like you're going to take on something pretty nasty.
Yeah, they didn't spare the budget for the soundtrack on this, did they?
Oh my God, no! It's so good. I play Destiny. I'm weirdly addicted to Destiny now. I've never been a big online like first person shooter player, but God, I play this game a lot now. It's so good.
Now, did they nail the story more in Taken King?
I have no idea what the story is. I've played the game for like 100 hours. I have no idea what it's about. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like mystical nonsense. Mm-hmm. But it's fun. It doesn't really matter. You go around shooting people and collecting stuff. Like that's really all I care about.
Right. Cool.
But the rest of that's really good. And there's a lot of good stuff on there. I think it would be great for 40K or Rogue Trader, any of those, any of that stuff. Because it has that sort of fantasy, it's got the space fantasy thing going on.
Right. Let's try one other one you got here from Destiny here. Let's see what this one's like.
I don't remember what this is. Oh, it's similar, yeah. It starts with that same theme.
Sort of that dark brooding thing going on.
Yeah, you can tell these people went to the Hans Zimmer school of scoring thing.
Yeah.
Especially with this, that repeating string thing.
It's got that.
That could be every Zimmer movie from the 90s.
I was going to say, war is coming. Here it comes.
Yep.
Get ready. Strap on your boots. This is good, though. Wow. All right, Ken, I really, there's a lot of good music. Another one that was great this year, I don't know if you listened to, have you played The Witcher 3 yet?
Mm-mm.
So the soundtrack in The Witcher 3 is fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard that. Oh, I just backed into the toddler stuff.
Uh-oh.
I'm not really a Dunkin' Donuts. It's a lie.
Ken!
Did I just ruin the illusion? So I'm in the playroom.
I'm going to put a little on here. I'll pick one. Here you go.
Whoa. Oh, hi-yo. Oh.
Yeah. When you said you liked choral parts, I was like, oh, he's gonna like The Witcher.
Yeah, that's kind of like Lisa Gerrard or, Dead Can't Dance kind of stuff.
So The Witcher 3 is probably one of the best production value video games I've played in a while, and I play a lot of them.
Yeah.
So if you like fantasy, and you like good soundtracks, I would highly recommend this one.
Yeah, it's funny. I look back on the movies and the video games that I like, and I realize that most of the time it has to do with the music as much or more than the game or the movie.
Well, I think it's how they make you feel, right? So, I mean, you mentioned earlier that you don't always have an emotional reaction to video games, but I think a lot of times you do. You engage with them at a level, even like Destiny. You notice the music impact.
Oh God, yeah,
looting. It's getting you in a mode and a mood, right? And I think that's just like it does in the movies. So I think it just increases the immersion level, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, music tells you how to feel. It makes you feel. It doesn't.
Right.
It's a cheat, really. It's a way to get. If you can't get the story across on the
Right.
screen, you can get it through in the score.
But if you can really nail both,
Yeah, of course.
like we talked about in the one scene in Star Wars, you can really make an even more powerful scene, more powerful. With that.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So, Ken, it was so great to catch up with you here at Dunkin' Donuts.
I felt like I was living inside the score.
Me too. I was like, it was like the best
While
episode
having
of
an
the
iced
score
coffee
ever.
and a croissant chocolate-filled donut thing.
Yes. It doesn't
I
get
have
better than
I have
this, Ken.
powdered sugar all over my recording equipment.
It's very awkward.
Oh, there's that. And then there's the suit. And,
Well, Ken, thanks for sitting with us, Ken, and letting us get you a little messy there. And we'll see you in about a week or so and have you on the main show here to talk about the polyverse and everything else.
Oh, I can't wait.
Polyversal Kickstarter. Check it out before the show shows up, and then you know what we're going to be talking about.
Arrive informed. That's what I say.
Oh, I do not understand your weird manipulation of time, but I like it.
All right. See you in a bit.
Thanks.
Thanks for purchasing a D6G Lost Chapter. Supporting the show helps it grow.